It's each, right? 250 each.
Yeah, I think so.
Looks bigger in person.
He give you a fob or something?
So I know I go on about living in the 1980s and 1990s. I'm a bit obsessed, I think. I love that era. And honestly, wish we were back there now with everything that's going on. But yeah, I mean, people like John Carpenter, they kind of made the backdrop of that era so good. These are the people that made the things that made that era so fantastic. I'm talking about films like The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, John Carpenter's Halloween, and then he went on later to do things like The Fog and other like amazing films. Escape from New York, obviously an absolute classic. And then obviously he's also an accomplished musician. This is why a lot of his films you'll find he's actually done the soundtrack for the film, like The Thing and Escape from New York. He did all the soundtracks for them, and you can tell the guy loves synthwave music. And interestingly, he used to do that kind of music to save money because it was quite an easy, accessible way of creating sound in films. But now looking back, you can see why this sound effect, this certain sound, became iconic with John Carpenter. So in a nutshell, what do I think about when I think about Toxic Commando? Well, you've definitely got some Left 4 Dead elements in there. I think most reviews have mentioned that name, and for good reason. It definitely feels like that type of game. This isn't a linear shooter like Left 4 Dead though. There's a bit more wiggle room and a bit more space around where you're working. But ultimately, you have these objectives. You're dropped into a map. You can't go in any direction for miles. It's all set within like a certain constrained zone. And you have to check off these different objectives. Now, you can, in theory, run to the objective straight away, get them done, and then head straight towards the final confrontation of the level. But most players will probably want to go around, collect resources to make the level a little bit easier to finish. So there's a range of things you can go around and collect, and they're spread all over the map, and you get a kind of an idea of what you're coming up against with the icons on the map. So sometimes you will find these like blue orbs, and they will give you like a second chance. So if you actually go down and die, you can be respawned back in an egg somewhere, and then players have to get to you and get you out of this egg. It's a pretty cool mechanic. You've also got the basics like ammo, grenades, which will replace your supplies. You've got fuel for the vehicles, which I'll come on to in a second. And then you've also got these crates that you can open, and they will give you a fourth weapon. Now these can be anything from a plasma rifle to a railgun. I actually like the LMG, very handy in tight situations. And these just add another element to making your life a little bit easier at the end of the level with the final confrontation. So every single person I know who's played this, or some of the reviews I've watched, they've all mentioned the terrible acting in the game. And I don't care. I couldn't care less about the acting in the game. And it is terrible, yeah. The characters are all very paper thin, very stereotypical. You know, you've got the stupid Marine at the front. You've got the slightly more observant female character behind, kind of pointing things out. You've got the long-suffering second in command, who's also a slightly more intelligent and also kind of like rolling their eyes at this guy in charge. But I think in a weird kind of way, this kind of fits in with the whole feeling of this game. It is very much 1980s, big, bold, brash, dumb action, dumb one-liners, and that's how these films were back then. So I think the bottom line is, if you are looking for some type of like deep, meaningful dialogue or some character study on how, you know, combat affects the average human being, this isn't that. This is just a vehicle. These characters are just enablers for the set pieces, the combat, and the thing you've actually come for. And I'm okay with that.
We're the ones dying for it.
Damn. So, is there a Mr. Gallagher? I'm on the turret.
So, speaking of vehicles, Saber Interactive have actually done something quite clever here. They've actually taken something from one of their other games called Mud Runner, and there's a few other variations on that, like Snow Runner and so on. And those games are all about this authentic experience, about getting these vehicles like Humvees and 4x4s and so on, and getting them through really adverse weather. And they've got this really amazing like terrain deformation, mud, snow, rain. It all kind of like molds into this very realistic physics thing. And they've kind of like taken a light version of that and dragged and dropped it into this game. So when you first start the levels, usually on foot, but you can see some vehicle symbols on the map, and then it's up to you whether you want to make your way towards these. Now, some of these are basic cars, some are like ambulances, and each vehicle actually has a special power. So the Humvee probably has one of the best powers, and that's like this EMP shockwave that absolutely decimates everything around you, except you, of course. And yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to have in the game. And what I love about these vehicles are that when your bots or when other players are also jumping in with you, let's say the Humvee, the other players who are in the Humvee can actually hang out the windows and like gun down the zombies as you're driving around. Obviously, you can also run them over, and yeah, it just looks all really authentic, really good, and it's an excellent fit for this game. It works surprisingly well. Another thing you can do as well with the Humvee and a few other different bigger vehicles is use the winch. And sometimes this is almost essential because you'll get yourself into a really like deep well of mud, and you need the winch to like latch onto a branch and pull you up a hill or something like that. Otherwise, you'd be in a situation where you have to get out of the vehicle and just abandon it because there's no way you can get up it. So there are a few more layers to this game, and one of them is a skill progression tree. Now, I'll just say it, some of these skills are pretty nifty. I've been playing the Strike, and so I've been modifying her like one ability, which is to fire like a shockwave of energy from her hand. And as this evolves, it gets pretty powerful. But unfortunately, some of the other skills on these trees are very placeholder, you know, like carry an extra grenade, carry more ammunition, that type of thing. I wish a bit more time had been put into that skill tree to make it a bit more interesting. But yeah, it serves a purpose, and it gives you something extra to evolve your character with.
God, look at all these zombies.
And so little time to dismember them.
Should have looked both ways. Just paper tigers.
You should be approaching the Pearl now.
We're gonna need to clear out those tendrils, aren't we?
You should see a metal platform. Park the vehicle on that. The extractor you're parked on will let you take the anti-sludge element with you.
Defenses activated!
Obviously, the bread and butter of this game is the combat, and that is where, for me, this game shines. It's absolutely fantastic, and you've got these amazing scenes where you've got hordes of zombies pouring to left and right and in front of you, and they've obviously used the tech they've developed in World War Z and in Space Marine 2, and again infused that into this game. And I think this is a really good thing for a developer to do, is use their assets they've already built and kind of like retrofit them into new projects. And they've done a really excellent job of making this tech work for this game. So obviously this is a cooperative shooter, so your basic choice is go in with the AI and let the bots run around and just follow you and be extra guns, or you go in with other players. Now, I love these games played with other people, but I usually find it better when I know the people who I'm playing with, and we can all jump on Discord and coordinate what we're doing. I found that if I play with other randoms, people can go in any direction, and there's a real push and pull between where people want to go. I had one match where I was in a car with these two French guys, and they were just being so like gung-ho that they were getting us killed constantly. And I was trying to say to them, let's just like, use a bit of strategy, but they didn't want to listen, which is fair enough, they don't have to. And You know, we we just got killed constantly, and I ended up leaving because it was so frustrating. But if you play this with other people you know, you can coordinate, and it becomes much more fun and much more satisfying. There have actually been times when I've found the AI and the bots to be a better option, and that's when I'm trying to gather resources to upgrade weapons or gather cosmetics. And I don't feel like I'm under any pressure to kind of go really fast. I can just take my time, gather all the resources, and see how the levels look and find my way around. So there isn't a great deal more I can tell you about Toxic Commando. It's a very fun, accomplished shooter. Saber have taken a lot of their systems they've used in other games very successfully and fused them into this one game. And yeah, it works so well, and hats off to them for doing that. So that's my review for Toxic Commando. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I hope you found it useful. Leave me a comment. Let me know what's your favourite John Carpenter film from back in the day. And do you still listen to his music? So yeah, I'm moving on to Crimson Desert as of today. It could be a while before my review comes out. I don't tend to rush these games. And as you know, I'm not interested in being first out of the gates. To me, reviewing a game is about going in and seeing what actually makes it tick. But I hope to see you there. Alright guys, take care, and I'll see you then.